Isn't it crazy that news organizations endorse politicians?
I mean,
like, oh, I trust
sorta.
you. I think it's terrible.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
Why? Why does it make sense?
Because I mean, I look at how the news has changed over the last 20 years, and it's like the mainstream media's viewership has deteriorated with the explosion of the internet, and so they can't really afford to keep up with platforms like YouTube and all these other things. And so clickbait was created because the internet they had to figure out a way how to get people at their short-term memory immediate response. And so the way that advertising done, the way that headlines are written, the way that everything has changed. And so the whole concept behind, journalistic integrity is not rewarded in this new era of media, right? Where it's like we're used to, when I was a kid, you watch Walter Cronkite and Barbara Walters, and they don't tell you what to think. They just tell the story. That's what the news used to do, and then you figure it out for yourself. And things are always a little bit leaning to one degree or another, but the media and the mainstream media leaning was not tolerated by the public.
I disagree. I think the issue was they were the principal sources of information. Mm-hmm. And so they always tried to play middle of the road to the best of their abilities out of fear that they would spark a controversy. So it's sort of true what you're saying. I should say I agree mostly. But the idea is like the newsroom always was motivated by maximizing viewership. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, we'll lose 10% of our audience if we do that. Then when the internet arose and everyone got to choose their tribal hangout, mm-hmm. they said, if we don't choose a tribe, then we get no one.
And that makes people catered, or made the outlets cater to the audience more, you think?
Yeah.
Well, do you think that now, after all this, that people are ready for middle of the road media?
I'd say maybe, but I don't know if middle of the road is the right way to view it. I think what's happening is, look, I think you get a staunchly conservative show, it will get substantially more views than a show like this. You give a staunchly leftist show, it'll get substantially more views than this, regardless of whether it's correct, researched, or otherwise. Mm-hmm. So, you take a look at the biggest political cultural streamer in the world, and it's ill-researched or not researched at all, but it's tribal, so say what needs to be said. Mm-hmm. Say what the audience wants to hear, you'll get way more traffic. Say what the audience doesn't want to hear, they get mad at you, they unsubscribe, they stop giving you money, and then your company falls apart. So you gotta make sure you're siding with the audience as it goes. I don't know though. Maybe it's unfair to say because I guess this show is the highest average live audience on YouTube for the time slot. Mm-hmm. There are other streams that get more viewers, but we consistently are the top live show at this time. So maybe there's something to be said about that. I will say though, you take a look at our total views, like a podcast of this show will get 400 to 500K on YouTube. We get like 100 or so on Apple and Spotify. Tucker Carlson gets around that in his 1 hour show slot in the key demo, but then he gets another couple million from the older crowd. Mm-hmm. So my question is, when that older crowd, let's just say, ages out, what happens to media? Like we may be relatively big, but we're a fraction of the size of Tucker, mm-hmm. right?